planet Earth, and let's do the back history on this.
Kim? Thomas, do you want me to start? Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
When I first got this position, I guess you would say, I was approached by the people you know as M, which is not Marcos, and a couple, the other two people here that I described were at the top of the world. It had been within 30 days of me being in Russia, where I was notified of this purported position. And they sent me this sheet of paper that's probably about 6 foot long and maybe about 3 or 4 foot wide. And I was actually we were talking about doing video, and I was actually going to show everybody on the video this plan. It's called the Global Martial Law Plan. Now, global martial law began on the planet Earth in 16,500 years ago. At the time, there were between 5 to 7, it's debatable, tribes on the planet Earth. And one of the tribes was at war with another tribe, and in marched the Draco. And the Draco basically convinced one of those tribes that they would give them advanced weaponry if they would agree to global martial law. And under global martial law, the M, Etal, became the dictator of the world, because under martial law, as you know, the head general is the one that takes over the country, so to speak, or in this case, the planet. So they got their advanced weaponry, they won the war, and M took control, and he's been in control ever since. So he keeps revising the global martial plan, where you will have one world order, and that world government will serve him at the time. He's dead now. And that was the plan he was always working towards, was to be the king of the world. So under the global martial law plan, it required them to control basically every resource on the planet Earth. But they definitely had a hierarchy and a structure. And this is what I wanted to point out. So somewhere at the top of the sheet is the 3 gentlemen, and he uses a Sun Tzu wheel type design. And I have posted this before, and Thomas can pass it along to you. So the 3 of them were at the top. So it was a father and some brothers that were at the top. Then you had 21 parents. Then you had the coven leaders, and then each coven had 1 to 2 people that reported to its respective leader. Then you had a whole bunch of other groups, which are predominantly, let's call them 36 to 39 different groups, each one hailing from a different location. And then, after you get past all those groups, then you start hitting people. So then the people are down here where you have your dragon families, your Asian dynasties, and whatnot here at the top of the people food chain. But the point I wanted to make is that there are several layers above, always was, before you get down to these people that call themselves the rulers of the world. They are far from the rulers of the world. They never ruled the other 36 to 39 groups that are here. They never even came close to having a direct conversation with the people at the top.
Yep.
The only reason why those people ever reached out to me is because their goal was to control me. I didn't know that at the time. I thought that they were working together with us. They said they had changed their ways and so on. But, then I sat in meetings with them every Saturday for 3 years, and they used to laugh at the amount of lies that they could tell, and everybody just believes them. So, yeah. And then you get down to the families, and then several layers below the families, you start getting to the government. So the people that are saying, oh, let's fight the government, fight the government, fight the government, all those instructions came from so far away from the government is just following along with the bouncing ball. The unfortunate part about what's happening now is the 39 groups are no longer cooperating with the dragon families. Then there's nobody left up here. I think there might be 1 coven left, possibly 2. And those people I don't talk to those people. And then there's no parents left. And so you've got sporadic stragglers up here at the top, but they were never the brains of the operation. The brains of the operation always was, I call them I've nicknamed them the trio of death, just because of all the things that they did. But they were always the brains. So there's no brains behind the dragon families. Therefore, there's no brains behind the Pindar. Therefore, there's fragmented information that they received over the years, and they're trying to execute on a fragmented plan that somebody else wrote, which is why they don't understand why none of their stuff is working anymore.
Yeah.
So these people that are purporting themselves to be the leaders of the world, which governments are still listening to, have no sense of a plan whatsoever.
Yep.
So when we found a loophole, meaning myself and a few other people found a loophole, and it was actually one of the original tribe that signed the agreement and came to us and said, well, we don't agree with martial law anymore. We want a peace treaty. And then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, well, a peace treaty, that's the loophole. So we went to the council, which is not, there are Draco involved, but there's hundreds of thousands of species involved, and we petitioned for a peace treaty here on Earth. Once that peace treaty was signed and agreed to and consented to by the council, then we are now under a peace treaty, which means that anybody violating the peace treaty is subject to the UPU or any other enforcement unit, and that includes any of humanity that's not following along. So that is the significance of global martial law, where we had one dictator for the entire planet, which is what put them in control, not the dragon families. They were always sub levels down. But that's how we basically gave up planet Earth to a third-party entity.
The dragon family is about 7/8 of the way down that page, if memory serves me correctly. That shows you the level. And the government, the piece of paper is about 5 or 6 foot. The government is on the bottom line. It's about 3/4 of an inch, which is the space of the piece of paper. In other words, they're the bottom of the list. In terms of galactic terms, they're not even in this solar system. And this is what people really have to understand. You can blame Trump for this, that, and the other. What he's trying to do, and what we're trying to do, is give control back to the government, because the government did not have any control. Nobody alive in America today has operated under a real American government. It's all been corporation. This is why we've got our letters, names, print your name out in capital letters. Well, if you go and look at tombstones, they're all printed out in capital letters. Why? Because it means you're dead, which is why they call it the corporation a fiction name. Because the corporation, if you want to set up Randy Morgan's corporation, they'll ask you for a fictitious name. Because the corporation Randy Morgan's already exists, because that's when they changed all the system. But all the top end's gone, pretty much. This is what I talk about in our show, about the inner war and the external war, and most people are waiting for the external war. Well, the most important thing is the internal war. The most important thing is not getting money out or funding. There's far more important things, Money in and of itself is a control system. What people fail to realize, and what we need,
absolutely,
people need to grasp, is those pieces of paper are exchanged for your life force energy. This is what they've been really harvesting, your life force energy. And the idea of trading your life force energy, which is the most valuable thing on this planet, for pieces of paper and bits of metal, once you understand the concept of it, is absolutely absurd. Now, can money help? It can. But it can only help if we change the way we operate, not the way they operate, the way we operate. And we can't carry on just hoarding it and leaving people homeless on the street, walking past them. You can't carry on doing that. You can blame the government for that. But as Kim says, the government's not getting any money. It's all going to the Rothschilds. These are the same people that all the RV crew people are waiting to give money. They've never given money to anybody. You know, and if they were that flush with money, why are they selling all their estates off? Why have they sold all the stocks off early on this year? Why have they just done an art sale in Sotheby's? Because they've got no money. All of it is now in the trust, and we need to get behind it and get the people in the government a chance to actually operate for and by the people. Because at the moment, whether they're good, bad or indifferent doesn't make a blind bit of difference. They're only allowed to do so much.